Donald Trump already sent his new Secretary of Treasury to Iraq. Moments after he was signed in, Trump to his Secretary of Treasury, "Go see Sadani and Alak at the CBI. Lock yourself up behind closed doors. Don't come home until mission is accomplished, it's close." Iraq, Britain signed military deal worth over $600 million, quote. The German website B News revealed that a deal worth more than $600 million was concluded. President Trump wanted to make sure that Iraq was ready to go and to bring out their new rate, and that rate would theoretically be in their new budget, which is being passed, probably by the weekend, so it could end up going into the printed version of the Gazette and the virtual version of the Gazette on Saturday or Sunday. We believe that it could come out to where things could start happening around noon on Saturday. Al-Sadani has been having one achievement after the other and the results are out there for everybody to see. If you can't see it now, it's like, man. Iraqi bank training on cross-border payments, financial integrity, quote. The Washington, D.C.-based Institute for Financial Integrity, IFI, has announced the launch of the Financial Integrity and Cross-Border Payments Training Program for the National Bank of Iraq, NBI, developed in partnership with the Central Bank of Iraq, CBI, and K2 Integrity. In the near future, it's unlikely the Vietnam dong will experience a significant increase in value against the US dollar. Here's why. 1. Controlled currency policy. The Vietnamese government closely manages the value of the dong to maintain export competitiveness. A stronger dong could harm Vietnam's economy by making its goods more expensive globally. 2. Inflation and economic balance. Vietnam's bank is cautious about rapid changes to avoid destabilizing its economy. Vietnam's reliance on exports means its currency value is tied to global trade dynamics, including demand from the US and Europe. Question. When they exchanged currencies in the past, how was it given to you? Mark Z. Right into your bank accounts. Also in the past, before electronics, if it were a smaller amount, they just handed you cash. Foreign Minister. We have not heard any threats from the Trump administration towards Iraq. This is from the Prime Minister. Article quote. The government is committed to diversifying the economy and eliminating the monopoly of rents. So they're going to move from oil to oil gas non-oil revenue streams. They're pushing forward. It's really exciting to see how much progress Iraq has made in the last 2 years and the effects it's having on a global scale. The U.S. Republican representative, demanding sanctions on the government-owned Rafidane Bank, accusing it of being a machine for laundering money for the Iranian regime. Wilson wrote in a blog post on the X. The U.S. Treasury and the Federal Reserve, under Joe Biden, have allowed Rafidane Bank to become a money laundering machine for the Iranian regime and its agents to obtain U.S. dollars. The Republican representative stressed the need to impose sanctions on this bank, noting that President Donald Trump will fix the matter. Security and stability is what we constantly are seeing them brag about. I'm surprised they don't have the Goodyear blimp going by and saying, "We have security and stability in Iraq now. Everyone knows it. The whole world is pouring into your country. World banks are going crazy. Everything that should not be happening to your country because you're at a program rate is happening. How is this possible? What is this? This is the twilight zone. We now step into the new dimension called the monetary reform, giving purchasing power to the Iraqi citizens." Question. Could Iraq's RV revaluation be in the double digits? Mark Z. It could be if you look at all the numbers I have shared with you and listen to Dr. Shabibi years ago, who said Iraq could support a $16 rate, and back then there was far more dinar in circulation than there is now. So it could be. I will just continue to think lower, so I am not disappointed. The governor of the CBI knows the Dr. Shabibi plan and it cannot be stopped. It can be delayed, but the reforms move ahead in spite of the U.S. foreign policy of the past. However, it also took a decent prime minister like al-Sadani to move it ahead regardless. Remember the Nouri al-Maliki days? Yes, this was yet 8 more years of wasted time. All we need to do is take a good hard look at the last couple years of progress under al-Sudani and we can clearly see a change. This took strong leadership and dedication to the white paper reforms. This is where we are today. They are now at the point, in spite of all the corruption, they have made it to the finish line, but now they need a push over it. The relationship between Sudani and Donald Trump is about to announce some initiative that is going to make America and Iraq stronger. The expectations of this are pretty high. What do you think this announcement from Trump is going to be? Community comment: MAGA and MEGA make Iraq great again. Frank: I like that because that's exactly what this man is doing right now. U.S. President Donald Trump's nominee for Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, launched a scathing attack on the previous Democratic administration and denounced the invasion of Iraq. Gabbard said in her speech during her confirmation hearing as National Director of Intelligence in the Trump administration that the complete failure of intelligence by the administration of former President George W. Bush was responsible for the U.S.-led invasion of the Middle Eastern country. She pointed out that, for too long, faulty, insufficient, or weaponized intelligence has led to too many costly failures and undermined our national security and the freedoms that God gave us and are enshrined in the Constitution. She continued, the most glaring example of one of these failures is our invasion of Iraq based on a complete fabrication or failure of intelligence. Gabbard criticized the U.S. attack on Iraq, describing it as a disastrous decision that led to the deaths of tens of thousands of American soldiers, millions of people in the Middle East, mass migration, destabilization, the undermining of the security and stability of our European allies, the rise of ISIS, and the strengthening of al-Qaeda. The Kurdistan Regional Government Delegation is scheduled to hold a meeting with the federal government in the capital on Friday regarding employee salaries. Shafaq news agency correspondent said that the meeting will start after 1 o'clock in the afternoon at the home of Foreign Minister Fuad Hussein, where the regional government delegation consists of about 20 people headed by the Kurdistan Minister of Finance with the participation of many general managers in the ministry. He added that the meeting will include discussing the December 2024 salary and the 2025 salaries. The roots of the salary crisis in the Kurdistan region go back to 2014, when disputes escalated between the federal government in Baghdad and the Kurdistan regional government over the management of the oil and budget files, in addition to the repercussions of the war on ISIS, the decline in oil prices, and the subsequent spread of the corona pandemic in the world. Baghdad stopped sending the region's share of the budget, and the regional government responded by exporting oil independently. This conflict led to disruption in salary payment mechanisms,